LittleMxStar。
Little space, also known as small space, is an umbrella term for those who engage in extremely childlike activities such as using pacifiers or baby bottles or wearing onesies, coloring in coloring books, etc. There are a total of 5 different types of little space a person can be in. Right now, I'm going to be talking about age regression, age dreaming, and system littles, also known as little alters. Age sliders will be mentioned. However, I would like to remind you guys about this one thing. I am not a DID system or a OSDD system or a undiagnosed system. I am just a person on the internet who wants to spread awareness and education about various topics. And also, I will be mentioning some sensitive stuff, but this video is not going to be too triggering because I am just going to make this video for everyone. However, if you feel uncomfortable with anything mentioned, I don't really know exactly what to put a trigger warning for exactly, so I'm sorry. But if you feel uncomfortable with any topics in this video, I would suggest you click off if you get too triggered. Now, I will show you a disclaimer about what I will be talking about. The culture of adult babies is very strange. However, not everyone who uses an adult pacifier or anything like that is an adult baby. In fact, most of them are not. ABDL is completely different from little space. ABDL is a fetish/kink that involves a power dynamic. However, I'm not going to be talking about that in this video. I'll be talking about age regression, age dreaming, and system littles. Regression can often be a sign of a very serious health problem. That's why it's important to get checked out if you start regressing. Age regression can be a trauma response, or it can also be caused by brain damage. A lot of people confuse age regression with age dreaming. Age regression is purely involuntary. Some people's brains will cause them to revert back to the age of a child mentally in order to protect itself. A very common sign of regression is increased temper tantrums, incontinence, and lack of bowel control, and also talking and walking in a very childlike or baby-like manner. Age regression is often poorly understood, and most people just simply think it's a phase that their children or loved ones are going through. However, it can actually be very, very dangerous. You know how people with dementia start reverting back to the ways of thinking like a baby or behaving like a baby, such as putting things in their mouth that they're not supposed to, or forgetting how to walk and talk? Well, that's also a form of regression they go through. People with dementia also age regress involuntarily. Age regression can be a sign of things that are really dangerous, like brain problems.
I'm very good at all. It's been really, really, really bad to the point where, like, a lot of
bad crap has been happening to me.
Okay, I give up. What is this?
What I haven't been telling you guys is that a year ago, I started experiencing symptoms of involuntary regression. This was 2 or 3 months before I came out as non-binary, and I basically started experiencing symptoms of involuntary regression because I had multiple traumatic events happen to me in 2021 and 20 and 22. People had no idea that I was struggling. I hid the fact that I was schizoaffective, and I just simply said I occasionally experience very mild psychosis. Eventually, shortly after I received my schizoaffective disorder diagnosis, I forgot about it because for 2 years, I was in the worst mental state I've been. Actually, it was 3 years, 2020 up until 2022. Well, near the end of 2022. I am doing much better now mentally, but I still deal with involuntary regression due to the trauma of living through a global pandemic and having multiple friends and family members die, as well as having some people who I thought were my friends turn their back on me and leave me behind. What people seem to notice about age regression on the internet is that a lot of people who are not neurodivergent often bully age regressors. People often compare us to ABDL littles or pedophiles even, when age regression and age dreaming have absolutely nothing to do with sexuality in any way, shape, or form. And also, pedophilia is just fucking disgusting, let's be real. Whatever happens between 2 consenting adults is none of my concern, as long as both parties are not being harmed in any way, shape, or form. And as long as they are practicing safe kink and safe sex practices. I really can't say much about what adults do behind closed doors because it's none of my business unless something very, very dangerous is going on. I want to make one thing very, 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 very clear. Age regression and age dreaming is not pedophilia in any way, shape, or form. It has nothing to do with anything sexual at all. What it is a mindset. And to the people who say that age fluid is the same thing as age regression, no, it isn't. Age fluid is a term that maps, aka fucking pedophiles, use to justify going after little kids by saying they identify as a younger age, which is not the same thing as age regression and age dreaming. Age regression is when you involuntarily revert back to the mind of a child. It has nothing to do with anything sexual. It has a lot to do with trauma or mental health issues or physical health issues, chronic pain, just any number of issues a person may have, or simply some people's brains revert back to a child in order to protect itself from extreme stress. If you think that age regression is pedophilia or if age dreaming is pedophilia, get off of my channel. because this is not the place for you. And you should seek help if you really think that it is that. Age dreaming is a voluntary coping mechanism. You can revert back to the mind of a child voluntarily and in a safe way. Personally, the way that I age dream, I usually use age regression hypnosis. I usually find videos of people basically like hypnotizing you to go into a childlike state. That is personally the safest method I found for myself. However, simply surrounding yourself with childlike things in your home or like engaging in childlike activities do work well enough for most people. Like most people are able to age dream without any trouble. I have a hard time age dreaming because it's really hard to control my brain. However, age dreaming has saved my life, honestly. Because at some of my lowest points in life, I've used it to cope, and it literally has saved my life. Age sliding is when the age of a alter in a DID or OSDD or undiagnosed system fluctuates, meaning that a alter does not stay the same age and constantly fluctuates between multiple age ranges. This can only happen to alters of a system. A person cannot be an age slider. Someone's mental age might fluctuate, but the difference between someone who has a fluctuating mental maturity or like a age regressor or age dreamer versus a alter that fluctuates in age is that the alter actually does fluctuate in age. Anybody who has a mental fluctuation in age who isn't a system just simply has a very rapid change in mental ability and more fluctuation in regards to mental health. Alright, so sorry about my nose being very stuffed and my voice sounding a little odd. So hi, I'm Star. I'm sure you guys already know that from watching this video, though. Why is there so much dead skin on my lips? Anyway. Hi, I'm Star. I'm an age regressor and age dreamer. Now, this is a adult pacifier I own. I own a total of 13, I believe, of them. 13 or 16. I don't remember which one. But I age regress and I age dream. So I will be explaining my experiences with both of them. And I will also, after this documentary thingy is released and all that, I will try, no guarantee, however, I will try to find other age regressors and age dreamers to interview live on stream. So that way, I can educate people in front of a live audience. I will probably do multiple interviews on Kick and Twitch and YouTube as well. And all interviews will also be reposted on YouTube, except for the YouTube one because it's already going to be on there. But as I was saying, so my symptoms with age regression first started in 2020 when the pandemic started. The first symptoms I started experiencing was hand-eye coordination issues. My other symptoms with age regression include decreased ability to speak properly, and also temper tantrums, night terrors, childlike/baby-like behavior, and also feeling dissociated and disconnected from reality. These are also symptoms I experience with my schizoaffective disorder, and age regression is a very common sign of schizoaffective disorder, which, if you don't know what that is, schizoaffective disorder is a form of schizophrenia, but it is also an umbrella term for those who experience symptoms of psychosis and mood destabilization, and also regression and extreme stress, distressing symptoms, and also obsessive compulsive behaviors. Basically, it's an umbrella term for anybody who does not fit into any categories such as borderline personality disorder or schizophrenia. It is also considered to be both bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, schizophrenia, narcissistic personality disorder, OCD, psychosis, and depression and anxiety all combined into one disorder. So with my age regression, I also experience a lot of narcissism when I'm regressed, because I am considered a recovering narcissist. Which there's a difference between narcissists and loving yourself. I want to make that very clear. A narcissist is somebody who puts themselves above others without considering other people's feelings, and they also tend to have a lot of anger issues, and they tend to lie and manipulate to people. And unfortunately, I have done those things in the past. Ignore the fact that I keep clicking my pen. And narcissists tend to be really, really good. Like, some of us are really good at hiding our emotions. Like, for me, I guarantee you have no idea about what I'm feeling right now and what I'm thinking. Like, take a look at my face. You'd think that I'm in a neutral state right now, but I'm actually not. I'm really good at hiding my feelings. A lot of the times I feel extreme rage, and that rage is very hard to comprehend. Like, neurotypical people barely understand, they don't understand it at all, so I don't expect another person who is a narcissist to understand what I'm feeling either. Like, as a narcissist myself, I don't even understand what I'm feeling either. There's a difference between being a narcissist and being diagnosed with NPD, which is narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissism is a symptom of some mental illnesses, not just NPD. In rare cases of schizoaffective disorder, some people can be narcissists because of that, and I am one of those people, because I feel like I cannot trust anyone else, so I bring myself up, but not other people, if that makes sense. That is also a huge part of my regression. When I am regressed, I tend to have narcissistic rage. And what that means is that I will get extremely angry if things do not go my way and if I cannot control a person. Keep in mind, most people's age regression does not work the way that I do. I am just a very unique case. Most of the time, it's just simply temper tantrums, flashbacks, hallucinations, night terrors, and also PTSD flashbacks. While a lot of these things are in my regression, I have additional symptoms that is considered really rare, but can happen with age regression. Like, I have dissociation, even though I don't have DID. The difference between DID and any form of schizophrenia, while there is a lot of dissociative effects and like symptoms of DID and schizoaffective, DID is when you have multiple people in your body, and each one of them can take control of your body whenever needed, or it just simply happens at random. People with schizoaffective have hallucinations, and their brain tries to dissociate in order to protect itself from the hallucinations. And none of the hallucinations can control the body because it is not part of the person themselves. While people with DID, the people in their head are part of them. Even though schizophrenia technically means split mind, dissociative identity disorder is basically a consciousness thing, while schizoaffective disorder is a mood thing and a neurological thing. What people don't seem to realize is that the majority of age regressors and age dreamers tend to either have a severe mood disorder or psychotic disorder or post-traumatic disorder, or a developmental disability like autism. I have all of these things except for a post-traumatic disorder. I do not have any disorders that only result in trauma. All of the mental disorders and neurological disorders and like autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder and also psychiatric as well. So neuro, psychiatric, developmental, and mental disorders that I have cannot be a result of trauma, because everyone in my family has some sort of psychiatric problem, because let's be real, my whole family got fucked over by our genetics very, very badly. A symptom of schizoaffective disorder is something called, and I'm not shitting you, this is a real symptom, it just has a really weird name. It's called word salad. What word salad is when you say something, like you say a sentence basically, however the grammar is nowhere near correct or comprehensible to anybody. Basically, sometimes I'll say stuff, it makes perfect sense in my head, but nobody will understand what I'm saying sometimes, because both the grammar and the words are literally like switched around and squished and also just randomly put in a pile like a salad. That is also a huge part of my regression. I'll say stuff, but grammarly, oh my god, and also logically, it would not make any sense. But in 2021, I was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, my hallucinations trigger my age regression. So my age regression mainly involves either a lot of rage or sadness, mainly. Like, I have symptoms that are very similar to people with BPD, which means borderline personality disorder, because schizoaffective is a very, very, very big umbrella term. And so I have things like abandonment issues, again, compulsive lying, much like how narcissists also do have that, extreme rage, extreme depression, extreme anxiety, like sometimes if somebody even speaks even mildly louder or mildly softer, I'll think someone is very mad at me or very sad. I've even thought that people were crying only because their voice tone was slightly off to me. And I've even thought that people were going to die because their voice tone was too quiet or too loud as well. I also have a lot of body image issues because of it, because of my schizoaffective. And again, it affects my age regression. because with my age regression, I also do relive traumatic experiences that happened to me. Like for me, it mainly has to do with being verbally abused severely. And more recently, I've been reliving traumas of my now ex-friend Juliana verbally abusing me, and also religiously abusing me as well. Now, what you guys may notice a common pattern with the way I talk about regression is different from most people the way they talk about regression on the internet. There's a lot of misinformation about regression. Age regression is not voluntary at all. It is purely involuntary. And it is a trauma response and also a self-defense mechanism that the brain puts up in order to protect itself. I would also like to preface this that not everyone's age regression is going to be like mine. Some people barely have to deal with it at all. Some people don't even remember what happens when they regress. Some people just simply feel sad while regressed, or like some people will relive positive memories while regressed. But at the end of the day, age regression is this: a self-defense mechanism and or a trauma response. And for me, it is a self-defense mechanism and a trauma response. Age dreaming is a voluntary coping skill. And what it is that you go into a mindset of a child, but you are not regressed to a child fully. I personally also call it partial age regression, even though that's not a very accurate term. But age dreaming is a coping mechanism where you engage in childlike activities like coloring or drawing or playing with toys or watching children's shows or like doing educational activities while in a mindset of a child, but you still have more cognitive awareness, much like an adult. To be honest, I kind of have always been an age dreamer, but I didn't really know it was a thing until 2020, to be honest. Like, ever since I was a kid, I would do things that I knew were typically not associated with people my age. In fact, it was usually associated with people who were much, much younger than me. I have multiple medical conditions that causes me to cope with things in a very different way from most people. And conventional coping mechanisms such as simply deep breathing or meditation do not work for me. They do not work for me because it requires too much focus for me to do these things. Many influencers who are often transphobic, homophobic, ableist, racist, sexist, etc., often try to compare age regression and age dreaming with pedophilia. This is not the first influencer I've seen do this. Even news outlets have done this before as well. I want to make one thing again very, very crystal clear. Age regression and age dreaming have nothing to do with anything sexual.